And you know,
Yes, I
guys,
am.
I'm like, I'm gonna be gentle.
I'm very nervous. Yes.
But let's take a deep breath. Say, "Woosah." It's just you and me here. Yeah, it's just you and me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, ma'am, I like to ask you this question. What got you started in this sport, as I call it? Muscle and masculinity. Appreciate it.
What got me started in bodybuilding?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start. I've always I I've always been athletic. I was a dancer before. Um and I I always just, I had to stay in shape in order to dance. From dancing I went to powerlifting. Um from powerlifting I did CrossFit. Like I said, I've been doing this for 23 years. I've always loved being fit. Um but there was a time that um I I I went through a very I lost um well I lost my husband, and I lost um two of my boys. I hit a very dark place in my life, where it kind of want to drop me. I didn't From being so athletic and always working out, it just yeah, I just went through a very dark place. So one day I just told my daughter, she's a boxer, she's an amateur boxer. um you know what, I'm gonna do bodybuilding. I wanted to I wanted to do something that was gonna, keep me busy. And for me, I always felt like fitness was always a way to help me get through things, like relieve everything, just get my mind off that dark, place where it just wants to just drop you and live in, just where you just want to be in bed and sleep, and you just want to shut the world down. And I didn't want to do that, because I never in my life been that person that, I've always been strong. And I'm gonna, wanted to just fight this, dark place that I was wanted to want to get me in, like. So anyways, I got into bodybuilding. My daughter's coach got me with a very good trainer. His name is Brian Berkland. He's a bodybuilder coach, and I got into bodybuilding, and um has helped me a lot, um, with every, like, just mentally and physically, and it's kept me just busy, not, to help me with basically depression, and getting me out of that dark, fighting my demons. Just training, and yeah, that's what got me into bodybuilding. The hard, and like I said, it was very hard. I feel like every time I hit the gym, and I think about everything that I've lost, and it's just I leave everything there. I guess it gets me, you know, in a better place, training and stuff like that. So
Well, I would say this. I never had the experience of losing a spouse or children. My mother, she did, because she had to bury, before she was buried, she had to bury um, three of my older siblings and a husband. And to me, losing, like, well, two of my three older sisters, I grew up with them. My older brother James, who really got me into the whole thing of bodybuilding when I was younger, because he used to get the muscle bags and used to like looking through them. I used to lift weights too when I was younger and play football. And my sister Mary, she was the baby girl of the family, but she was still my big sister, and I love them both. And my father, he passed away, but we weren't that close. But one person that I really kind of I lost a long time ago was my mother. And it's been 5 years, and it's something you can never really replace, that person that's just out of your life, especially a child. Like, you remember the movie John Q. I'm not going to bury my son, my son's going to bury me. And that's the thing you don't want to deal with. I know the ladies I talk to, that trauma has sometimes either can fuel you to push yourself out of going through depression and hardship. And bodybuilding, even though it's a very tough sport, the regiment, the consistency, everything involved with it, it's there.
Yes, yes, but I agree with you. Bodybuilding is a very, very, very tough sport. It is. The meal prepping, the training. But it's very hard, but at the same time, it keeps you busy, keeps your mind. Just like I know, like me, concept. I gotta train, and makes you, for me, it makes me not think about, you know, the the bad things that I've gone through, because it's been for years. And yeah, I'm always thinking, like anytime I go back, like that comes my those bad thoughts come in, and I'm like, okay, no, I put it away, and I go train, and that's what I do. And I think about positive things. Okay, I want to get my pro card. Think about, so I don't have to think about the bad. I think about, okay, I'm gonna, keep going. I keep wanting to do more in bodybuilding. Be better, and 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 do better. Just.
And what's the division for, like we said earlier, you were bikini.
Mhm.
What's the division and what's the organization that you're competing?
OCB.
OCB, which is it's a natural organization. It's been around quite some time. Have you ever thought about coming crossover to the dark side and come to the NPC?
I don't know. No, I actually was talking to my after. No, I think my next after I don't compete again to 2026. I think after I do that one, and I'm praying I get my, I'm going for my pro card. I want to get the pro card. Um, uh, I if I get it, I want to go and do the Angels. What's it called? The Angels competition. I don't know. I send it to my trainer, but that's the second after I do the Vikings and the Midwest. I want to go and do the Angels. I'm sorry, I can't even think of it no more. But it came across my Facebook, and it seems pretty nice because they get dressed up and these bodybuilders in outfits, and whatever, you get to pick your outfit, and you win like, uh I don't know, so many prizes, some modelings, you get some modeling um contracts or something like that. I don't know. I looked into it this last year, but my trainer told me, he's like, no, let's focus on growing, on your feedback that you got this last year for bodybuilding. So that's what I'm doing, so yeah, that's after I compete, that's what I want to do, the Angels competition. I can't even
Well,
think of the name of it.
well, that's good that you have a goal, and that's the thing most important to when you come bodybuilder. Either be getting your pro card or doing a competition. That's the thing I think a lot of bodybuilders when they get to sport, they have something set for themselves, and the work you got to put in, and the training you got to put in. With me, I'm a fan of the big muscle women. I bikini, y'all cute little girls, but y'all division is all right, but I respect your passion for it. So now, what's that like for you that first time competing? Because you think about it, you got to get on the stage. Now, you used to be a dancer performing, but this is
Yeah.
different from
Yes.
being on stage and dancing. You just have to people looking at you. You wear a pair of high heels and just walking across the stage.
I was really the first time I was really nervous, especially with the posing. Coming into bodybuilding, learning so much is like I didn't even know that posing was like that important. I was just focusing on training, and then later, a little bit before, I was like a month, 2 months before competing. Then um, I posing came up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to learn. And in bikini, I feel like they have a lot more like poses to do, the front pose, then like the angle one, and then you gotta turn and do the back pose. And I had to learn all that, and I felt like, oh my gosh, it was so hard. I kind of just had to like wing it when I was in the front stage. I ain't gonna lie. I was just like trying to look at everybody else, but I mean, I did okay the first time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a lot to learn about. Like I was really nervous. I
Here's the
was,
thing about bodybuilding: it's a process, and
mm-hmm.
once you understand the process, you're trusted. I know posing is a very important part about, especially when you are on stage. Presentation. That's the thing about it. I would say, do you have a posing coach right now, or everything's on? You do everything else?
Yes, I have a posing coach. It was actually my bodybuilding's coach wife. She does posing, so she's the one that helps me with the posing and stuff. And I've been practicing, even though I don't compete till next year. I'm still want to get it down. Like I I'm still practicing my posing, till now. And just like I do my training, I practice the posing a lot because I want to do like 10 times better than I did last time. So. So yes,
Mhm.
I'm
It's
still
like practice. Practice is important, especially in your training.
yes, practice,
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah, but like I said, bodybuilding, like anything, it's a tough sport, especially as I said again for women,
Mm-hmm.
because what you're doing, you're changing the aspects of your body, gaining muscle, and also being a woman who had children. There's a lot of responsibility, sacrifice you made. Like other than your two sons and your daughter, how many more children you have?
I have six,
My mom had at least seven.
seven. I would have had seven, but my baby passed. But I have six. My
Hmm.
youngest is 4. My
Oh,
oldest is 27.
oh,
So
yes, she grown. She grown. You
he
can't
is a
tell.
is a boy. He
Oh, the
is
boy. Oh, well,
yes,
the old saying, a boy's best friend is his mother. Yeah,
yeah,
that's yeah. We love you. You're the first woman we ever love, and we will have wives and girlfriends. Only people that probably take that place of a mother's love is their own children. And
yes.
what he feels about, like, your two older children. How do you feel about their mom being on stage, in a bikini? So, did they ever go to your shows?
Yes, my son actually went to my last show, this last one that I had. Yeah, they supportive. They're very supportive. My no- my son's supportive, but my one that's my number one, like she's like my right hand, is my daughter, the boxer, the one that does boxing, because she trains as much as I do. She's very supportive. She's there right with me, fixing my bikini, seeing my posing. She's one that she's always pushes me on pushes me on my training, just like I push her in her training. She pushes me. So yeah, they're all really supportive, so
Well, that's
they're
good because you know what? That's the most important part about this sport is support from family, friends. I've talked to ladies where they told me that their parents may not like it because especially they come from an old generation where the idea of women having muscle or doing this, doing that's not comfortable with them. Like I had women tell me that the mothers don't want to talk about them about this. I had telling me that dad or their brother might say, "Hey, and father might say like this, say, "All right, got a boy. I don't need another boy. You're getting too big. I don't want to be too." Or, "Sweetheart, I don't want to get you any bigger than you need to be. Just can't you eat this, eat that?"
yeah. um my one thing I do remember, my son was kind of like when I was, you know yeah, with the bikini part, but he got comfortable. He was kind of like, I don't know, he just this last, but he was like, oh well, this is what she's doing. So but yeah, he was kind of nervous going in there, seeing me, on stage and stuff like that. So
Well, like I said, a boy loves me. He say, hey mom," but then there be those days where he say, "Hey, who's that hot chick in the bikini?" I say, "Hey,
yes,
that's my
yeah,
mom." Then your other daughter be like, we back to back to be fighting. You're like, "Hey, that's our
yeah.
mom."
He was watching the other girls. I know he was at the time he was like, oh my god, there's a lot of girls in bikinis here. So he's like, so that kind of took the focus of watching me, but he supported me, but he was just looking at the other girls like, oh, it's like there's a
Hey, I
lot of girls in
remember.
bikinis. So
It was almost half a century for me when I was 20 when I was 27. I remember those days and just girls in little posing suits and in bikinis and and the things they used to do, but I can't go into detail on that. Got creaky. But so we have a comment here. Shout out to my man Joshua Sipkins. He says, "Keep your heart and your spirits high. You will get your pro card. Yeah, thank you, brother.
Oh,
Appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Yeah. So, folks, while we get Nina here, we're gonna do this. We're gonna jump into her social media for a bit. If you want to follow her and support her path as a bodybuilder, the link is in the description of this live stream. Check her out. Reach out interest. But guys, it's no offense to you, Nini. I say this because it's a disclaimer to all the guys out there. Guys, no weird shit, no D pics. Stop it. Get some help. What's wrong with you? She got kids, man, little babies, a 27-year-old and a girl that can box. I don't want to hear somebody getting like her daughter.
Yes.
With her body blows, uppercuts. So, folks, we're going to jump in here into social media. You want to follow her? The link in the description. Reach out, support, and wish you best of luck in the upcoming show. And here we are. And this is one. This is the last show you compete again.
Yes, that was my last show. That one
Yeah.
right there.
And what was your placement?
Second.
All right. And you look really good.
That was my first. That was my first show.
Uh huh.
That was a
And
Midwest.
oh, that's really good. Impressive ladies. I mean, and as you know, OCB is natural compared to other organizations. And
Yes.
I talked to ladies that the natural bodybuilder is a lot harder.
Yes, I agree with you. Being natural bodybuilder, it is hard. Um, like it is because you gotta. Oh my gosh, you gotta work. I mean, nothing against like the ones that like the people that take enhancement, like to help them. Um, nothing against that. Them. I support everybody, respect everybody's, what they do with their bodybuildings, what helps them grow. But being a natural bodybuilder, it is hard because you gotta like train, and I feel like 10 times harder. You don't get. I don't know how to say it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
What?
it's not easy being a natural bodybuilder.
See,
Because
because one thing.
I'm gonna share something with you that my experience with this last show. So, and I had put this on my TikTok, and I put it on my Instagram too. So when I first started, also when I came into bodybuilding, this last this last competition, they gave me feedback on my glutes, and I'm gonna say is I've always been this small. I'm tiny. Um, I I didn't have much of a glute, and I think if you go in my page, you can see my before and after. So I I was really like kind of bummed out about it because I was like, oh my gosh, my glute. They said my glutes had to work on my glutes and my lats, which the lats I really didn't. It's like okay, I got the whole lat thing, but the only reason I kind of got overwhelmed with the glutes, it was because I knew I did not have much back there, so I was like, how am I gonna do this? So I kind of got talked to my coach about it, and I did my own little research too on how to get those glutes bigger. So I came a long ways. So if you go in my page and you see me a lot posting my glutes, I work really hard. That's all natural. I, I, I did that all on my own, from going from before. If you see before and after, yeah, those glutes came a long ways. And that's all me just hitting the gym hard, working hard. Like, just, yeah, it was. And I even came to a point I wanted to do some implants, because I was so overwhelmed. I was like, I even asked my coach, I was like, do you think I could get some implants? He's like, nope. If you do implants, you cannot compete in natural anymore. That's the rules. And I was like, really? I was like, oh, shoot. I was even trying to going under the knife for implants, because I was so overwhelmed when they said my glutes. I was like, so nope.
Hmm.
I worked hard, and my glutes came a long ways. So
Well, that's kind of interesting because I know quite a few ladies who do OCB that are bikini competitors that got implants. The thing about natural is that you can't use any kind of chemical or drug. No
No,
anything.
I guess now what I've heard that is just, I think this is just recent, that the for naturals there you cannot have, no surgery, or else you cannot compete natural anymore.
Okay,
That
must
did,
be,
they just changed that recent, well, at least that's what my trainer told me, that
yeah,
just
well.
this
But
from this
also,
last year.
also check it out if it is, if it's true. This is with your daughter here, and she's an amateur
Yeah.
fighter. What's your record?
What's her record?
Yeah,
Like, she's like, what do you mean, like her losses or like her
win
wins?
loss.
She's
The
only
whole.
had two lost, and the like 920 from her 20 fights, over 20 fights, only two lost. She's on the top up there.
Was she ever think about going professional in boxing?
Yes, she is. Right now she's thinking about going pro. She's been boxing since she was a little girl.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
this next weekend is a big boxing event. It's Katie Taylor versus Manny Serrano two, no three, and it's an all women's card. You have people like Alicia Bumgardner and several other female fighters. You think she might want to watch it?
Oh yeah, she watches all those fights. She knows all those fighters. She loves boxing. She
Yeah,
knows. Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, I grew up as a big fan of boxing. I grew up in the tail end of the Ali era. Grew up with guys like Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson. Like when Mike was in the game, I just like to fight. I just want to bust people up. They just I just like doing that. And I've done interviews with female boxers, MMA fighters. I really have grown more for MMA because it's very, very extreme when you can
Hmm.
look at it. We have here a guest here. You might know him, a man KL the Wanderer. He says, "Good evening,